As Durango grows, so do our traffic woes. What are we and can we do about it? Hi, and welcome to City Currents, a dialogue about Durango where you are invited to join in the conversation. Joining us today is Durango Police Commander Casey Malone. Thanks for joining us, Casey. So you're the traffic go-to guy for City Police.
That is correct, yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, background, kind of where you've been, and what brought you to Durango.
So I spent just shy of 20 years at the Farmington Police Department, Farmington, New Mexico. Was able to retire May 31st of this year and started up here a short time after. So I've been in law enforcement for about 2 decades and decided to continue that journey in Durango.
Awesome. So with that, I would imagine that you've got a lot of experience in traffic enforcement.
That is correct, yes, sir.
Awesome. And so you are the person then for us to kind of talk a little bit about with our residents of just Durango and the traffic that we're experiencing. You know, as we do grow, our traffic woes do continue as we started at the beginning. And also as we look at the holiday season, we do know Durango's a destination at times for the folks who are looking to come skiing or enjoying our main street that we have here. So wanted to just see kind of what are the 3 or 4 biggest traffic areas where we see the most accidents and or tickets?
So based on our data, one of the things that we like to look at in traffic is crashes with injury. And the reason we pick that is because we can change kind of that dynamic just by doing certain things. So the 3 areas within the city limits of Durango where we see the highest number of crashes with injury in order are the South Camino area, kind of in front of Walmart and Home Depot, the North Main area, and then Highway 160 West. So those are the 3 areas where we see the largest number of crashes with injury.
So what are the most common violations that we're seeing out there right now?
So it's generally it's speeding, it's just, any type of distracted driving, people texting, stuff like that, red light violations, following too closely, careless driving, any one of those, type of violations are what we most commonly see.
Gotcha. So how big is distracted driving in our community? I know we're hearing a lot about it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side you want to be on, technology's everywhere.
Yes.
And it's, on ourselves, it's in our cars, and that does lead to distractions. So are we seeing that as becoming an issue specifically here in Durango?
Yes, and it's an issue I would say everywhere probably in the world. But, one of the reasons it's most significant here I'd like to point out, and you mentioned it earlier, a lot of the community of Durango are people from the outside, and so they don't know their way around Durango. They're having to utilize GPS. They're trying to find parking in a strange area, and so a lot of our drivers are by default already distracted just because they're from the outside, and so it's always a factor. It's always going to be a factor. So we definitely try and combat that.
And what steps are we taking to address traffic problems and violations within the city of Durango? I know some of the comments I hear about are, is it more tickets that we need to issue? What is it that we can do? But I know there's more than just issuing tickets. There's also an education component with it.
Absolutely. So if you go through any type of training in law enforcement, how to address a traffic problem, they call it the 3 E's. The 3 E's are engineering, education, and enforcement. So engineering obviously is not something that law enforcement can generally factor. A lot of times we get to have opinions or what have you, but we can't change the engineering. So our focus is the education and enforcement component. So what you'll see from the Durango Police Department is you will see us doing things for a specific reason. So for example, is our most recent plan was we're going to try and change the behavior on South Camino. And how we're going to do that is we're going to post something on social media. We're going to tell the public, hey, we're trying to change the driving behavior in this area because there's been a lot of crashes with injury. And so you're going to see our traffic officers, our patrol officers in this area enforcing violations. And so we're trying to educate the public and say, hey, this is where we're going to be and this is why. And then we're going to go out there and we're going to actually issue those citations for speeding, for running red lights, for careless driving, following too closely, what have you. So that was the or the enforcement component. And then while on those traffic stops, we're asking the officers to communicate with the public as to the why we're here doing what we're doing. And so again, reinforcing the education component of it. So things like that. So we started most recently down on South Camino. We're moving up to North Main, and we're going to repeat those approaches as we move forward.
Appreciate that. And we do have a traffic enforcement unit, correct?
Yes, sir, we do. We currently have 2 officers on the traffic unit. One of them's riding a motorcycle, one of them's in an unmarked police car. It would be great to expand that, and hopefully, in the future we're able to do so.
Absolutely. And in closing, what would you say to motorists about how to stay safe and ticketless, especially as this holiday season is fastly approaching, and then also weather is going to play an important role coming through. We hope to get some snow for some skiing, but what would you like to leave as some parting wisdom and advice for motorists who are out there?
The simplest thing is slow down. Leave 5 minutes earlier in the morning. Just slow down a little bit, because speed, is the #1 factor in people getting hurt in cars. It's every mile per hour you go up, the likelihood also increases that you're going to be injured if you're involved in a crash. So just slow down, obey the posted speed limit. Take that extra time. Be courteous, please. Be courteous, and that would be it.
Well, thank you very much, Commander Casey, for your time. Really appreciate your service, and please stay safe out there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Remember, this is a program where we want your input and questions. You can call your comments, show topic suggestions, and questions into our special hotline, 970-375-5091, or send us an email at citycurrents@durangogov.org. And be sure to join us next month for another edition of City Currents. Thanks for watching.